So why aren't there more homes for sale right now? Well, one of the reasons why is it's sort of a vicious cycle, bringing it down lower and lower. Sellers are afraid to sell because their strategies, realtors are not telling them the proper strategies for buying, and they're not sharing with them the proper selling strategies for selling. It's time to flip the industry on its head just with its strategies, because when you look at this, we have less than a month's inventory. That's less than a month's supply of homes. You can see that right down here. Just to bring it home so you know it's not an anomaly, here's the active listings as of March. It's now April, so it's April 9th. So this was at the end of March. There were 2,139 homes for sale on the entire San Diego County MLS. Now, pending sales, there were 3,400 pending. So there were more homes purchased during the previous 30 days. And I know there's a few that sometimes take 6 months to close, but there's a good, well, I mean, this is the number. There's pending sales. There's more pending sales than there are active sales and closed sales. So these would be homes that went under contract in, probably February, the early March. And there's 3,140 closed sales. So that leads us to see that the month supply really is less than a month, because there's only, as I said, what was the number? 2,139 homes for sale. That was active listings. 2,139 homes for sale. And just to show that this, everywhere in California, this is the entire MLS. This is CR MLS, which is the largest MLS in the country. It covers most of Southern California from when I look at the maps, some of Central California and some of Northern California. On the entire MLS, there's only this was a 1.2 month supply of homes. Okay, so now, what was I telling you about flipping the strategies on their head? Well, I've been advising people, and for those who don't want to call me up, this will be a free video series. I've been advising people that they want to be selling contingent and buying non-contingent, or as least contingent as possible. So on the selling side, we're going to go over in the next video or future videos. If you go to, you click the link at the end of this video, you'll see it, how to find buyers that are willing to pay the very maximum amount in the market and be flexible. You're going to set up a process so they do their inspections and they go to close and they get to the point where they're ready to buy a home at a moment's notice. So you're like, if I give you 48 hours notice to close, you'll call your bank, or the money will be transferred into escrow and you'll close in 48 hours. That way, when you're negotiating your purchase, you can say, my home's already under contract. We're 48 hours from sale. We're good to go. Or, if you're, and there's some flexibility. Sometimes a lender is going to say it's going to take us 4 or 5 days to close, and you'll include that in your conversation with the listing agent. Now, and so I've already given away how you're going to be the winning bidder without overpaying. Buyer's agents in general, for instance, let me just give you a story. Working with an agent in my office named Phil, and I might bring him up 2 times in the next 3 minutes. I was in a multiple offer situation for my home. And I just, it's like when you're representing yourself or you're talking, it's not the same. So I'm trying to get some information from the listing agent. She's playing it close to the vest. I make an offer. She counters and says there was multiple offers. At the time, I was pretty successful selling a lot of properties. So I could have paid 50 or 100,000 more, but I didn't want to overpay. No one wants to feel like they're a fool. At least I didn't. And so I said, I'm going to call Phil. We've sold hundreds of homes together. I was like, Phil, can you call the listing agent on my behalf and find out what it's going to take for me to be the winning offer? The winning bidder is probably better, but to be the winning contract, the contract they select. And I told him, Phil, I could go up 20 right now. I could probably go up 50. We've sold a lot of homes together, but I don't want to do that. And at some point, if it's too much or I feel like I'm getting jerked around, I'm just going to walk away. And so Phil goes, I get it. I completely understand. He calls the listing agent, calls me back in like 10, 15 minutes, says, if you counter up $2,000 more, you've got the home. And I was like, how'd you do it, Phil? Because he did it. I got the home, my wife and I and my family. And Phil said, I explained to her why you were such a strong, motivated buyer, how I knew you could pay cash, but you were going to get a loan, how you're super qualified, super motivated. There's a golf course across the street. You got kids in school who play golf. I was like, you're the perfect buyer for the home. You're going to close. And I said, you're not going to, like, if you find problems, it was a house built in 73. If you find problems with the house, you're not going to walk away. You're not going to go ticky-tacky him for $3,000 to $5,000. In fact, I told her that unless there was some major things wrong with the property, you're not even going to ask for any money back after the inspections. I said, because she goes, that was a concern of the seller. I was like, perfect, Phil. I'm glad you said it. We're done. I sent the offer over. It got accepted, and I bought the home. So that, in a nutshell, is what you're going to do to be the buyer's agent. Now, again, just 2 weeks ago, you have to, if you want to work, you not only need to have a conversation with the listing agent, you may have to work with the listing agent in this market. In fact, I would advise you most times you need to be protected, but not with a buyer's agent. You need to be working with the listing agent if you want to be the winner. And for instance, Phil's selling a home that he renovated, but they lived in for tax reasons, and they're now selling it just 2 weeks ago. And a buyer who I spoke with, he called my office because I was the brokerage, and I said, Phil's working for me. In fact, Phil's selling this home. You should talk to Phil. So the buyer found out, the buyer's agent found out there were multiple offers, and he said, Phil, I want you to represent my cousin because I want her to get that home. Now, Phil thought about it and said, well, I actually renovated the property, so I don't want to represent your buyer, but since you were so cool about it, even though there were multiple offers, he goes, you can still represent the buyer, but we're going to select your offer. Now, Phil was really cool about that in a unique position in that he didn't want to double-side a property when he actually renovated it. But I can tell you, when I've been selling fixer-uppers for people and luxury properties, I've got stories about all of that on the internet already, and I can talk to you about it. When realtors, when professional buyers who have licenses want to buy properties for their business, their renovation business, or for family members, they frequently ask the listing agent to represent their buyer. Now, they may still advise on the side, but they want the listing agent to be invested in their buyer and seller too, for multiple reasons. One, the listing agent feels more comfort recommending that buyer to be the buyer. Two, in multiple offer situations, the listing agent can frequently share where the other buyers are. So if it's $1 million home, the buyer on the counters goes up to 110, another 120, and one weaker buyer goes up to 150. Maybe a contingent buyer goes up to 160. The listing agent can frequently share that information with the buyer, and then the buyer can say, well, do you think I need, the buyer can then decide, should I be at 165 or should I go in the middle between the strong buyers and the weak buyer? Maybe we'll get the home that way. And that way the buyer not only, it's like so strange that the industry is still saying have a buyer's agent protect your interest in a market that has about a month's worth of inventory. That's not protecting your interest. You need to go to the listing agent and develop a rapport and probably contact them first, at the very least, before you go work with a buyer's agent. Ideally, you would have a buyer's agent or an attorney with a license or someone to represent you the way I had Phil representing me. And we've set up programs for that. If you want to go over, you would click the links and you can watch the rest of the video series. And during that video series, I will give you opportunities for a free strategy session. But it's almost like, so you're totally prepared. You may want to watch the videos anyway, because this is what's going on in this market right now. It's not the stuff like you go over to, in fact, the next video I'll go to Zillow. I'll show you how to figure out who the listing agent is, and I'll go over the pitfalls. So in the very next video, I'll do this as if I'm a buyer on Zillow. My name is John McConnin. By the way, I'm a real estate attorney and a broker in San Diego. In my office, there's realtors with licenses in other states, and I've referred buyers and sellers out all over the country. I love doing that as well, keeping people protected, but referring them out. So for more information, you can click on the link above or below, or maybe you're on my website watching this, and you can you'll know what to click because it'll be right there. All right, thanks. John McConnin. This isn't where you're necessarily going to find this information, but my main website for real estate is favoriterealestate.com. That's where it's an MLS site. You can search for homes there. And the focus on the front page is solar homes. Thanks. Talk to you later. Bye.